folks, it's Andrea. I just wanted to say a few words about the female athlete in training and sport. Um, Actually, it's just something I've been thinking about on my way to work, and after several conversations with fellow athletes and a wonderful lady Anchin who's been supporting me with my own training. And I tend to see a lot of female athletes come into the clinic that are sort of verging on the side of overtraining syndrome. And I think that if you are a female athlete or you are a female doing a lot of sport but may not necessarily call yourself a female athlete, well, you are if you're doing a lot of hard training, especially when it comes to the endurance realms, because the training tends to be of longer duration and higher total intensity across the week. I think it's really important to work with someone who can help you monitor your training load and sort of keep a rein on you, because I tend to see a lot of fatigue, and I feel that behind this there's the fact that a woman's body is quite different to a man's. Women have incredible endurance and capacity for sport and also strength. But the cycle of a woman across the 28 days can very much impact energy, health, well-being, strength, power. We even see changes in fueling, how well we tend to utilize fats as a source of fuel. And then at other phases of the cycle, we tend to see a much greater ability to rely on carbohydrates, where glycogen storage will be very much increased. Energy fluctuations, we'll see them also across the cycle, where there'll be days where you have a lot of energy, huge power or endurance or strength. We'll see other days across the cycle, and it can vary for women. It could be in association with menstruation, or it can be more in association with ovulation, but we'll tend to see quite dramatic energy drops. And I think it's very important to honor the cycle of a female, and for you to communicate with your coach, and for them also to do a little bit of reading up on the research around this, so that they can work with the body. We'll see changes to flexibility as well, and what may appear to be diminishes in performance during training may just be correlating with the kind of highs and lows and dips across the menstrual cycle in association with energy, fueling, etc., etc. So, it's important to work with someone who can support you to listen to your body and adapt your training program according to that, so that you can get the most out of it. Because I do believe that when there is fatigue, that you honor that and rest more, because you're going to come back a little bit stronger out of that. And it's knowing at what point should you take rest, or should you continue on. And I think women sometimes are very, very hard on themselves, and we try to compete and train like a man who doesn't have these same energy fluctuations and hormonal fluctuations, etc., etc. So it's important to learn your body, to keep a monitor of that with your, in your diary, so that you can track this. Another thing that we tend to see in the female athlete is when it comes to the amount of energy that we're consuming, or the mix, that the variety that we tend to bring in our diet between our carbohydrates. Women have a tendency to undereat in relation to the energy demands of their bodies and their sport. We may run into problems with amenorrhea, or complete, where we see another cessation of menstrual cycle, or oligomenorrhea, where we'll see kind of missed periods. And it is important to take note of this, because somewhere the energy demand of the body isn't being met. So the first thing that will go is menstrual cycle. Now, it's something that should be taken seriously, because it's important to have the right balance of hormones, not only for bone health but for cardiovascular health. There's an increased risk of stroke when estrogen drops down. Some of us might think it's very convenient when our menstrual cycle stops because of a race schedule training, but there will and can be long-term consequences on your fertility and the quality of your endometrium. So it is something that's very important to pay attention to, and often it only takes a slight tweak with increase in total calories, or just a slight tweak with increase in carbohydrates, and you may not necessarily have a gain in weight. So it's something that should be discussed and not afraid of addressing. Also, low estrogen will impact bone density, and we'll tend to see in the long run stress fractures, and even longer ahead from there we may see osteopenia or osteoporosis, and it is something that is definitely worth addressing, where we look to sort out the menstrual cycle, but also to support female athletes nutritionally with bone specific nutrients. Calcium, magnesium, vitamin K, vitamin D, zinc are very, very important. Another area for the female athlete where we can tend to run into problems is vitamin B12 and iron deficiency, and it is important perhaps every 6 months to have bloods done where you have these investigated. Now, not just your red blood cell panel, but also to specifically ask for your ferritin levels to be measured and your vitamin B12, and you're aiming for a ferritin, I would say at least of 50 to 80, and with your B12 to be at least midway for the lab's normal ranges. So if the lab's normal range was, for example, 200 to 1,000, your B12 optimally should be 500 and above. Sometimes we see levels higher than this when someone's on a multivitamin. So that was just a few things I was thinking about on my way into work, and I just wanted to highlight them. You know, a woman's body is different. It should be, you know, it's very important to intuitively start to work with your body when you're training, and to honor the kind of various peaks and troughs with your energy, and to manipulate your training according to that, and to work with somebody, I think, is very important. That's it really. I'm going to love you and leave you. If you want to talk to me anymore, or if there's any areas where you'd like a little bit more research or some references, I have loads of it stored up on my computer, and I can send them your way. It's definitely a very, very interesting and also quite complex area of research. Cool. It's Friday here, so I'm going to wish you all a super weekend. Go out and do something fun. If the weather's good, get out. If you need a rest, take a rest. Meet your friends. Do things that make you feel good. It's really important. Take care.